Check it out. It started snowing like mad out there. All right, welcome to this deleted scene, we'll call it. I don't know. It's not deleted, it's an extra, I guess. So I just wanted to go over some more things. First, though, check out the mostly unedited uh, realtor tour. I don't know what you call it, but when the realtor shows you the house.
Alright, Grandparino. Does this whoop needs a new piece of casing? This house, front closet that you said you were looking at, it is good. No water damage or anything anywhere in the foyer area or living room or kitchen. But so you come into the front door. It's funny, this is the same type of front door as the other house we're looking at. Arch here, which I don't really like. I was thinking about taking this whole wall out to make this area big. Here's the kitchen. Walk out onto that deck that needs to be replaced, but comes with appliances that, as far as we know, work. Kitchen has been updated probably in the mid-90s. Could probably use a new countertop though, just for looks. So that's the kitchen. Put in this little doorway here when he had a kid, so they wouldn't fall down the stairs. This is the living room. It's quite small, so opening up that would be really good. He did just put in this laminate not too long ago, so that's kind of a shame because it's not going to match. We'll have to rip it up. This is an office space. I know that this bedroom was built after the house was built, and this wall here, I believe, was also part of that. Although it seems like it would be a load-bearing wall, I'm not sure. But this is the bedroom I'm talking about. You can see the closet even was an afterthought. This was the kids' room. Everything in here looks good. Okay, and then we go into, this is the master bedroom. That's the realtor right there. And Ashley. Ceiling in here is all good. Closet. Attic access is up here. If I would have brought a ladder, look at it, you can barely get in there too. I remember I was working in here one day and I had to go up there. It was the smallest one. Goes into the bedroom here. Anyways, I was going to go up to the attic access to see where the beams are. Shower. Gross. Needs to be replaced, in my opinion. I mean, it doesn't need to be, but it's ugly. You can see the mom tried to paint this. Look at this. Sup? Man, I'm good looking. Jacuzzi tub, but no jets. What the heck? Doesn't make any sense. So, this tub is actually apparently not great. There's no water pressure to this tub for some reason, but there's water pressure to the sinks and the shower. Toilet's new. So that's it. So that's the front door again. Goes right into the bathroom. Cool floor. It's fake. It's lino, but it looks cool. Bedroom. I mean, basement. More mirrors. So this is the walkout. To the left, as soon as we get down, there's the bar. More mirrors. This is the entertainment area. Set up like a stage. Fireplace, wood burning fireplace. I think I would redo it to make it look nicer, but that's in time. Got these 70s cubbies, shag carpet, you know, so everyone knows you're ballin'. Look at the ceiling. Yuck. But back in the day it was bitchin'. Got this bar. You know, probably take that out. Bathroom downstairs. Pressure tank or hot water tank or something. It looks like a pressure tank, but we're actually not sure what it is. Got this bathroom here. Still good looking. You can see they tried to put, this is not, I don't think, putting this in here. I think this looks like it doesn't match at all. You can see like she started to put tile on. No Schluter and no grout. I've never seen a fan on the wall before. Heat. Fan. So this basement floor is concrete, but the rest is wood foundation wall. So panel up there. I'm not sure what it is. I'm assuming it's 200 amp, but I don't know how to tell that. A closet in here. Just a closet. Blah blah blah. We leave here. Go back. Walkouts there. So we go stairs here. Just trying to make you remember the layout. Left into this bedroom. They put in this carpet, which is not a carpet. Well, it is a carpet, but it's just like, you know, it's just put in here just for general comfort. They use this room for the grooming. They had a dartboard there and stuff. You know, look at this cheese board on the ceiling though. Probably drive all this, you know, make it look presentable, turn it into a bedroom. Here's the furnace. Okay, so this furnace is much newer. I don't know how new it is, but it's got, you know, new looking shit anyways. Hot water tank here, looks newer. Just storage and stuff back here, probably. So they ripped this up. I did that. You can see the sand coming in. The footing is right there, but it's lower than the foundation. But it's right under there. It's getting wet, so the sand, it was either always here or is coming down at somewhere. But everything's still solid. We're gonna get an engineer report. Everything looks good and feels good. This here, if you can just imagine, this used to be a closed-off wall, right? This goes into the secret room back here. It's kind of cool. What is this? Nothing. But here there's a puddle. So we're going to get that engineer's report and see what we need to do, or if it's worth buying or whatever. So, setting that up right away. So this is the secret room. The furnace room is right behind this wall here. I'm not sure what the deal was with all these different little things. This is the bathroom in there. You know, whatever. That's that little ledge thingy that's in the bathroom. Not sure why that was there. This is the stack, the shit stack, and then the venting is, you can't see where it goes out, but I'm assuming it's somewhere. So yeah, we come back out, some storage. So it comes with washer and dryer, which I believe work. I can always ask them if they work. Back into the furnace room, turn that off. Yeah, so this is the house. It's much smaller than the other one and doesn't have as cool of a layout, but it's got a big ass garage, which the footings in there are all rotten along it, so I gotta replace those. Not a big deal. Just most of the studs are still good. It's just not footings, I mean bottom plate. Nice big windows. This deck needs to be redone. So there are expenses, but we just have to, you know, take one thing at a time. We can move in and live, so there's that. And we just got to raise money to do each project, and we'll figure out what they are. But yeah, pretty decent house. What? I didn't even notice that either. Why are these in there? All right, and then back out the front door. All right, I'm gonna send this off to you.
There, did you like that? Was that entertaining? So let's go over some ways that we actually saved some money while we were working on our house. So this door, when we were quoted to have this door made custom for us, I think our cheapest quote was over $5,000, and then it went up to like $10,000 or something like that. We managed to make this for about, I think, $1,400 or $1,500 or something like that. The glass and the hardware is what cost the most. Like each hinge, I believe, was $75, and then the glass itself was quite expensive. Another way that we saved money is these beams. I made them myself. To get those made was too expensive for us, so I decided, well, I will just make them out of, I think we used some of the lumber that came out of the walls, and then we had bought some lumber to make that. Another place that we saved some money was with this window. This window was still, what was it, $1,600 or something like that? But it was going to be $2,000. I'm not sure why they gave us a deal exactly. I think it's because we got quotes from other places. But this is like, I remember the guy saying, you couldn't have made this window more expensive. It's like triple pane, these, whatever they're called, grill things, grids, I forget. But anyways, that window, we really like it. The other windows that we want to get are going to match this one a little bit. We saved money by going to IKEA. The sink and faucet, IKEA, so that didn't cost very much. And then all the demo we did ourselves, which that's the fun part. It only cost to dump the stuff, which did get kind of expensive because the floor here, that was really heavy. That was probably the most expensive load, but in bringing it to the dump ourselves rather than hiring a bin, we actually saved a bit. Also, light fixtures like this and stuff, these are quite expensive, but we got as much as we could on sale. So those, and then also the ones that we haven't quite finished in here. Our skylight we saved a little bit as well because we had done all the work ourselves, and then doing the roof, we saved a couple $1,000s by helping the roofer. So he didn't hire his crew to come help. We somehow convinced him that we would be a good help for him, and then so he saved us, I think $1,400. He knocked off the bill, which was nice. And then for the eaves troughs and soffit and all that, that was like $4,000, but we saved a few bucks by doing all the demo ourselves there. So that was going to cost an extra $800, I think. So we actually managed to save a decent amount by doing a lot of the work ourselves. Our plumber gave us a bit of a deal as well because I don't know why exactly, he just did. And the electric was done by someone we know, a journeyman that we know, and they did all the labor for free to help us out. All we had to pay for was all the wire and all the fixtures, receptacles and switches and breakers and all that stuff. We just had to pay for basically the material, which still cost a lot, but labor is a real killer when it comes to ticketed trades and stuff like that. And then going downstairs, we didn't do very much down there, but we had to pay for many engineers reports and for inspections because of our process in getting a loan sucked. But I want to show you this. Right here in this bedroom closet, there is a piece of pipe that goes outside. That's the hose bib right there. That had been cut. We thought that maybe the pipes had just burst because the house sat for over winter and they didn't purge the lines. But the inspector, when we had several inspectors out for each bank that denied giving us a mortgage, whatever you call that. But the one inspector there said that's not consistent with a pipe being burst. That's consistent with it being intentionally cut with whatever that cutting tool is. You know, it's got like a sharp whatever, and you spin it around. It was cut with one of those. So it was intentionally cut there and then also in the upstairs bathroom. But since we had redone all the plumbing anyways, that wasn't a big deal. There we had to get it soldered, but in the end, it works out. Nothing else leaks. We actually found out that it was leaking during the inspection. We turned on the water and then it was like Is the shower on? I don't. Wait a minute. It's leaking out of that bib there, and then also it was leaking here in the secret room through the old sinks were somewhere here. If you look through that vent hole right there, that's where the new vanity is. So it was up there, and it was just pouring water in here. But that's how we figured out that we had that sabotage in the house. It was actually pretty exciting, but not exactly what you want to go into. We also had to get some engineers reports done because of this. The drywall was all cut back in here and in the secret room, and that was because the water from the rain and stuff just poured into the basement because the grading of the house was like it was sloping towards the house, and that kind of sucked. Actually, while I'm in here, I'll show you. We redid the plumbing as well down here. So this used to be just like a huge mess, right? If you just saw that while I was doing the tour, and now it's just 2 pipes. Well, 3, I guess. It's way cleaner. But yeah, so all of those engineered reports and all of the inspections that we had to get done for each bank, in the end, I guess it's a lesson learned. Don't go through a broker. Use your own bank if you can. Since there was the sabotage in the house, our realtor was able to renegotiate the price that we had settled on, because the in a foreclosure deal, the bank only wants to make money, right? So you can offer a price, and then they will accept it or do whatever. They'll say yes or no, and then they'll come back, whatever. And then once you agree as the buyer, it's set in stone, almost always. But in this circumstance, since there was undisclosed sabotage, our realtor went to bat for us and got it lowered, I think by like $20,000 or something like that, which was, I mean, it helped us out a lot. A foreclosure usually is a little bit cheaper. They try to sell it for market value, but they often don't because of the condition. This house was intentionally neglected for personal reasons. There was a method to the madness, but I won't really get into that because it's not my business to say. The whole process was very frustrating because we were denied 7 times by 7 different banks while going through a broker, and then we were actually able to just go to my bank, and we were approved right away over the phone. In fact, our bank person, whatever they're called, he stayed like late or whatever. They closed at 7, and I called him at 6:50, and we talked on the phone till about 8 o'clock or something like that. And he really helped us out. The next day, we were approved. So pre-approved one day, and then approved the next day without even seeing Ashley's banking info, our work history, or anything like that. As a what do you call it? I guess self-employed artist, I guess is the best way to say it. They just look at you and say, well, that's not a good income. It's not consistent. It's not reliable. So we're not going to take that risk as a bank. But for whatever reason, my bank decided to. So I actually painted a picture for my bank guy and gave it to him. He was a really nice guy. He really helped us out. If it wasn't for him and our realtor Ben, we definitely would have lost the house. They both worked really hard to get us this house. Our bank, in the end, they what usually takes a couple weeks, they did it in a couple days because of our crunching timeline, because of the in my opinion would be the fault of the selling realtor. And what kind of confirmed what I'm about to tell you as a lack of care and disrespect for us is this. Basically, when he came and removed the lockbox from the house, he left the door wide open. It was unlocked, but it was also wide open. And I mean, the door was sledgehammered open when they came and took possession of the house from the previous owners. But when we came and got a tour of the place from our realtor, the door was locked up tight in the same sledgehammered open condition. We couldn't open the door unless we forced it open. So he intentionally left the door open. It just wasn't worth his time to close it, I guess. I don't know. But the whole ordeal with him was kind of trash. It kind of this is kind of how it went down. So what happened is basically we say, hey, we agree on this price, and we're waiting for our broker to be like, yeah, we got a bank for you. They're going to give you that amount of money. That's not happening. So we keep asking for extensions. And while we have that extension, the seller is not able to sell it to anyone else. They're not allowed to take any offers or something like that. So they're getting frustrated, and they're like, well, these people aren't actually going to buy it, and we're losing out on money, right? A bank only cares about money. They don't care about people's situations, all that. And that's business. So that's that. So we finally ditched the broker because they're useless. We had to pay for so many inspections for each bank and engineers reports and stuff. So we decided, no, we're not going to do that. Call up my bank, all good. So we call them. We say, hey, we got the money. We call our realtor. Our realtor calls their realtor, the selling realtor, and he says, hey, we have the money. We need an extension so our lawyers can do whatever the lawyers do in this sort of thing. So our realtor says, hey, they need another extension because the lawyers now are going to do their process. And then the selling realtor says this to their lawyer or the bank or whatever. He says, hey, they need another extension. And that's it. Not, hey, they need another extension. They have the money, but the extension is for the lawyer process. No, he just says they need another extension, which makes the sellers be like, they're flaking again. They don't have any money. Forget it. So at this point, we don't have the house. It's not ours. They're showing it to other people, or they're trying to. Luckily, no one thought this house was worth the amount they were trying to sell it for, because they were selling it for fair market value, which was $350, and then you could offer lower or whatever, right? No one thought it was worth it, so they weren't even entertaining putting in offers, which is lucky for us. So at that point, we don't know this. We think that we're good and we're trying to get the lawyers to do the thing, but we need to wait for some papers that come from the seller, and they're not sending it to us. They're supposed to send it via mail and or fax, but we don't have a fax machine, and they're supposed to send it to us, not our realtor. So they could have sent it to him, I think, but I don't know. I don't know exactly. We just weren't getting this paperwork that our lawyers needed, and they kept asking us. So we eventually go, hey, Ben, our realtor, Ben, what's going on here? Like, we don't understand why they're not sending us papers. He's like, okay, let's figure this out. He calls them, and they say something to the effect of, we need a deposit or something like that, which is fine. We can give them a deposit, but at the same time, they're still trying to show this house to someone else, which we don't know about. So we're like, what is happening here? We don't. How are you able to do that? Like, what if someone else buys it? We're spending all this money paying for our lawyers and all that stuff. Anyways, at the end of the day, we finally find out, because there's so much confusion. Our realtor risked his neck. You're not supposed to, as a realtor, talk to their lawyer directly. You're supposed to go through their realtor who talks to the lawyer, blah blah blah, or something like that. I could be wrong, but he risked I think a $10,000 fine to do this, because he was so mad at them, or frustrated or whatever, and I was pissed because they were screwing us. So they decided, okay, our bad, but they're still going to have to pay interest. So we saved some interest because our realtor fought for us, but we still had to pay I think $1,700 or something like that in interest. So from the day that they basically dropped us till the day that we gave them a deposit, we had to pay interest on. And then we had to pay, what we saved on was the deposit to the key day. We didn't have to pay that. That would have been probably totaling about $4,000. So instead we just had to pay 17. So from the day that they dropped us to the day that we gave them a deposit, we had to pay interest on, which I think was 13 or 17 days or something like that. I forget how many days it was, but we had to pay that interest, and then we saved the interest from going to whatever the key day was. And I'm not sure exactly why that works the way that it works, but that's just the way it does. And they don't really care either. They're just trying to get money. So we had to pay extra out of our pocket because the selling realtor was too lazy to say why we needed the extension, and it really screwed us, sort of. In the end, it all worked out. Uh, so there is that. That's part of the house buying journey that we were kind of I don't know, put off by, because yeah, that realtor screwed us. But anyways, we got the house, and then we started dreaming up things that we wanted to do. And then we got to work, like as you already saw in the previous video, of all the stuff that we took out, right? So taking out all that stuff and taking down the deck. Actually, there was a big, ugly, falling apart deck that we took down. That was actually the first thing we took down. And then there was a lot of things on the outside that we did. Our shop, our garage needed to be redone, so we actually kept that empty for a long time until we actually finally moved all our stuff from our old place to here. And then that's hindered some progress in some areas. In our first bit of time here, we couldn't work on the house very much because we both had our full-time jobs. So we came here in the evenings, did some demo, came here on weekends, did demo, and then we started rebuilding slowly things that we could afford. We were like completely drained of all our money because the down payment was $75,000. So we had to basically replenish all our money so that we could get started in it. And then we just started gathering quotes on a lot of different things that we wanted in the house to make it comfortable and efficient. So this fireplace right here, we have it covered up by this piece of OSB, and then there's a bunch of insulation stuff in there. This is an inefficient fireplace. It's just basically a heat sucker, so all the heat that is in the house just gets sucked out and drafted up the chimney and then out into the open air. So we actually got quoted for to get that replaced, and that was $10,000 to get that taken out, put a new one in, and then put another one upstairs. So we couldn't afford that. So what we decided to do instead is just leave it, and then in the future we will do that ourselves. And then upstairs we put a header in to the wall so that we wouldn't have to do it in the future. So if we ever want to put a fireplace up here in our living room, this is already prepared, which is good. We thought ahead there. Other places that we thought ahead, basically just how the renos were going to affect our daily lives while we lived here. So everything that was super messy, that was upstairs, we did right away before we moved in. We actually bought this house on our dating anniversary, October 24th. That's when we got the keys. And then we moved in today, which is our wedding anniversary. So kind of cool how that worked out. That wasn't intentional. That's just the way that it worked out. Some of the things that were drastically wrong in this house that we had to address first, that sucked up so much time in progress, is these. So this gable that's in the roof here in the truss system was all rotted because the chimney that's up there was leaking. It was not, the chase was not installed properly. There was no flashing on it. So that rotted all in there. And then some of these studs in here were rotted as well, and then up there. So we had to replace all that, replace all the insulation, and cover that up. And then luckily none of the trusses were rotted. So we just basically treated them and then replaced everything that was wrecked and then put it back up. Luckily this is a gable here, so the structural properties, however you say that, is a little different than if it was on like a supporting wall, like over here. We got lucky. Still sucked, but we got lucky. And then beyond that, as I said, all the electric had to be replaced, or most of it had to be. A lot of the plumbing had to be replaced. And then our furnace, for whatever reason, was super dirty, super clogged. So we had to get that cleaned, which is a normal thing to do. But that cost quite a bit because of how dirty it was or whatever, or maybe that's just a scam. That's a way they get you to pay more. They're like, ooh, this house has been empty for 2 years. Look at all this badness that's in here. I'm not sure exactly, but we had to get all that done. That's a normal thing to get done when you move into a place, but that sucked. We did have to replace the hot water tank, however. It was on its way out. So we got a high efficiency one because we wanted to get the rebate or whatever. But we actually didn't get the rebate because they were like, nope, you should have gotten this company to do the installation. So only certain companies are I don't know, have the seal or whatever to be able to install it so you can get the rebate. But it costs way more to get them to install it than the rebate was worth. So we didn't actually end up going that route. Kind of sucked, but we needed a hot water tank anyway, so we went with that. And then, of course, taking out all of the walls and stuff that we took out, we had to reroute some electric and figuring out where things went. We saw that there was way too many fixtures, do you call them, in series or something like that, and then there was a lot of buried electrical that was still live in the wall, which is, I don't know how dangerous it is because they all had the wire nuts on them, like the morettes and stuff, so I don't know, but it was still weird because you open up a wall and you're like, wait a minute, there's a plug here. Was that there before? Doesn't make any sense. Some of them actually still had the plug-in part. They still had this, which was very strange. And then in our bathroom, there was tons of black mold because when they renovated these 2 bathrooms into 1 bathroom, they just drywalled right over top of the drywall without leaving a space. And since there's a lot of steam in here, that moisture gets caught in between the layers there, and then it's just black mold. So there was tons of black mold in there, and it actually started to get into the insulation and everything. So we had to replace all the insulation up there. There was a piece of wood where you could tell where the old wall was to divide the 2 bathrooms. That was all rotted. It was all black and like mushy. Luckily, none of the trusses rotted at all, which is super lucky. I don't know how that happened, but a lot of the screws were rusty. So, yeah, not so good. So we replaced that with mildew-resistant sheetrock and then bathroom paint, which is supposed to do something with the moisture that's in the air from having steam and stuff. Another thing that we did that didn't necessarily cost any money to do, but took a lot of time, was all of these ceilings were textured. So they all had some texture like this. So I left this texture because the cabinets are going to go all the way to the ceiling, and I was already sick of skimming this whole thing. But imagine the whole ceiling was that. And to make it worse, in the kitchen, it was painted over. So we tried to scrape it, but instead we skimmed it. 5 skims to get it flat. Out here, Ashley and her friend spent days scraping it off of here. Just spraying it with water, scraping it off, spraying it with water, and scraping it off. And it was also painted this weird pinkish brown color. I don't know what color it was, but it was ugly. And scraping that all off took days. In the bathroom didn't matter because we ripped down all of the drywall. And then in the bedroom, it was painted over texture, so it was way harder to scrape. So I actually ended up skimming this area here, and then we left the texture in that area there because we decided to do this coffered ceiling effect, so it didn't actually matter that there was texture there because that little tiny bit isn't going to make a difference with this type of design. But out here, took forever and ever. I barely helped with that. It was mostly Ashley and our friend, but it was terrible. All the walls were also textured in the kitchen, so we had to replace all the drywall in there, and then at the same time we replaced some of the, where we took the walls off, we replaced the insulation with a higher efficient insulation. And then since we were dealing with it being summer, we also did a lot of stuff outside. There was trees growing in our driveway. Coming up the driveway, there was trees in the in the driveway, and then on our parking pad there was trees only about this thick, but still trees growing up. The grass looked like a voluntary crop. There was wheat and canola and soy and all sorts of things growing all over the place, so we had to cut all that down. All of that took a few days, and I believe some of it might be in the earlier vlogs. I'm not exactly sure, but cleaning up the property was very difficult, and we wanted to get a head start on that, or not necessarily a head start, but we wanted to start on that so that we weren't dealing with that year after year after year, because we were content living like this in this house. Not perfectly content, but it's comfortable. We're able to go on with our lives. So going outside and doing all that stuff so that we wouldn't have a nasty yard forever was sort of a priority in the summertime. And then we were planning this winter to do a lot more in the house, but now we've run into other expenses that we have to take care of, such as me getting a truck, and we just ran into unforeseen circumstances. It's just life. But yeah, that's basically I think I included most things. I don't know. That's our house. I plan on doing a lot of artistic things, like even right here on this wall, you can see it's not painted yet because I have to do some things that are going to transition down into the basement. But this wall right here, tell me if you think this is a good idea. We're still playing with it. We're not sure if we're going to do it. You see this big light bulb? This was supposed to be temporary because we bought this for our bedroom, but it didn't fit there. And since we already cut the cord, we decided just to put it here. I was thinking we reinforced and beefed up a lot of walls so that we could hang heavy stuff on them, and this is one of them. I was thinking it would be cool to have you know those, what would you call it, a motif? I don't know. Whatever those things are on the front of old sailing ships, like it'll be like a mermaid or something. I was thinking it would be cool. Imagine just having like one of those ship fronts, whatever they're called. Oh, I'm going to look up what they're called. Okay, I just looked it up. It's called a figurehead. Okay, so imagine a figurehead coming out of the wall that I'll carve so that it can hold this light bulb in her hands. This light bulb doesn't get hot. It's an LED. It's really big, but it doesn't get hot. So I thought that would be cool to have her kind of like grabbing the light bulb and holding that up there. That kind of takes away what this is, but we weren't sure exactly what we wanted to do, so I just did it just in case. You know? Oh, I want to show you this. Right? So it turns on that light right there. Right? But then, if you come over here, this was one thing that I insisted on. We got another switch right here. Right? But then, if we go around here, we got this switch right here. And then, if you come downstairs, we got the switch right here. Yeah? That was one thing that I was super stoked on. I was like, oh, we need to have this light switch because it's like perfect for when we come inside. It's perfect if we need to go downstairs from this side of the house, or if we need to go from that side of the house, or if we're going into our bedroom, we can just turn it off right there. It's excellent. We also have this light right here, which we will replace with something nicer, but I'm not sure when. And then, this is kind of weird. So we have this light here. That's for outside. But then if we go outside, we also have a switch for it right here, which that's not exactly normal. But for some reason I like it, so I'm going to keep it there. It's not typical, so we have to get an outdoor switch thing when we redo the siding. I don't know. We have lots of plans, and if you stick with me, you will be able to see some of those plans, or all of those plans, come to fruition as we have time and money to do so. So thank you for your support, and thank you for watching this hidden video. It's my anniversary now, so we're gonna go, what is it, paint the town red?